What happens when tens of thousands of university degrees turn out to be worthless and the fallout crosses borders? Between 2009 and 2020, one private university in India issued 41,000 degrees, and investigators later determined that 36,000 were fraudulent. If that scale reflects a broader pattern, the implications extend far beyond one campus. In this video, we examine how India's fake degree scandals evolved, who enabled them, why foreign governments are reacting, and what it could mean for global labor mobility. If this crisis deepens, it could reshape how countries evaluate Indian credentials, tighten visa systems, and alter the flow of skilled workers into sectors already facing shortages. India sends hundreds of thousands of students and professionals abroad each year. Its higher education system serves more than 40 million students domestically. A sustained credibility shock would not only affect individuals seeking work in medicine, engineering, and technology, but also complicate bilateral ties with countries that depend on Indian talent. The stakes are institutional trust, regulatory capacity, and geopolitical reputation. The most prominent case centers on Manav Bharti University in Himachal Pradesh. Authorities allege that over an 11-year period ending in 2020, the institution sold degrees for between 1 and 3 lakh rupees each. An anonymous tip to the University Grants Commission triggered scrutiny. Investigators linked senior figures in the university's operating trust, including Raj Kumar Rana, to the scheme. The case exposed weaknesses in oversight, accreditation audits, and verification systems. It also raised questions about how thousands of credentials moved through bureaucratic filters without detection. The scandal did not unfold in isolation. In Kerala, police seized more than 100,000 counterfeit degrees connected to 22 universities. 11 individuals were arrested for producing documents that were reportedly used to secure employment in medicine, nursing, and engineering. Prices ranged from 75,000 to 150,000 rupees. These numbers suggest an organized market with production networks, intermediaries, and buyers willing to assume risk for access to regulated professions. Earlier precedents underscore systemic vulnerabilities. In June of last year, India's Supreme Court disclosed that roughly 8,000 fake certificates had been issued by Agra University in Uttar Pradesh. The Vyapam admission scandal in Madhya Pradesh, exposed around 2015, led to more than 2,000 arrests linked to manipulated medical entrance processes and subsequent investigations marked by controversy and unexplained deaths. Enforcement agencies have pursued financial trails. As of January 10, 2025, the Enforcement Directorate reported attaching properties worth 5.8 crore rupees in related probes. Meanwhile, the University Grants Commission publishes annual lists of unrecognized or fake institutions. Yet, recurring cases indicate that listings alone have not eliminated supply. The mechanics of these rackets are straightforward but adaptive. Fraudulent operators exploit gaps between state-level affiliation, central accreditation, and digital record keeping. In some instances, degrees were backdated or issued through distance learning channels with minimal verification. In others, counterfeit printing operations mimicked seals and signatures. Demand is driven by bottlenecks in competitive admissions, wage premiums in regulated fields, and migration incentives. When a nursing credential can unlock a foreign salary multiple times higher than domestic earnings, the arbitrage becomes powerful. International reactions have followed. Australia has increased scrutiny of student visa applications linked to institutions flagged in investigations. Singapore's Ministry of Manpower examined 15 work permit holders with degrees from Manav Bharti University. Malaysia, the United States, and Canada reviewed hundreds of cases, prompting employers to re-verify credentials and, in some instances, rescind job offers. Nepal reported visa denials involving officials holding questioned qualifications, adding diplomatic sensitivity. None of these measures amount to blanket bans, but they signal a shift toward verification-intensive processing. The geopolitical context matters. India positions itself as a knowledge economy and a reliable supplier of skilled labor in information technology, healthcare, and engineering. It is also a strategic partner to multiple Western countries seeking to diversify supply chains and counterbalance China. Educational credibility underpins that narrative. When verification burdens rise, transaction costs increase for firms and governments. That can affect everything from hospital staffing to technology services contracts. Consider the first scenario. What if foreign regulators adopt universal third-party verification for Indian degrees, requiring direct digital confirmation from accredited databases? Processing times would lengthen, compliance costs would rise, and smaller employers might reduce hiring from affected pipelines. India could respond by accelerating a centralized tamper-proof credential registry, integrating universities into a unified digital ledger, and tightening penalties for non-compliance. Success would stabilize flows but require sustained political will and funding. A second scenario moves in the opposite direction. What if enforcement remains episodic and fragmented, allowing counterfeit networks to reconstitute in new cities such as Hyderabad, Surat, or Goa? By early 2026, estimates circulating in media suggest the cumulative number of fraudulent credentials could exceed 1 million. Even if that figure is debated, perception alone could harden screening regimes abroad. Countries facing domestic political pressure over immigration might use integrity concerns to justify caps or additional tests, altering mobility patterns across South Asia. Power dynamics within India shape outcomes. Education is regulated through a mix of central bodies, like the University Grants Commission, and state authorities that grant affiliations. Private universities have expanded rapidly over the past 2 decades to absorb demand. Expansion increased access but also multiplied compliance nodes. Political patronage, uneven inspection capacity, and litigation backlogs can delay corrective action. When anonymous tips are required to trigger investigations, deterrence is weak. There are also labor market effects. If counterfeit degrees penetrate clinical roles, public safety risks rise, inviting stricter credentialing in destination countries. If fraud is concentrated in paper-only qualifications without corresponding employment, the damage is reputational but still costly. Employers increasingly use background screening firms and digital verification services, creating a parallel industry that profits from distrust. That market response may persist even after prosecutions conclude. Recent enforcement suggests the state recognizes the threat. Arrests in Kerala, asset attachments by the Enforcement Directorate, and court-supervised probes indicate movement. Yet the gap between exposure and systemic reform remains the critical variable. Digital initiatives, biometric verification, and inter-agency data sharing could close loopholes, but they require coordination across jurisdictions and sustained audits.